possibly. Oh, just possibly we need some light. All right. Welcome to the SupaTea Podcast Show. Um, so this brand, before I even get into the brand itself, because I didn't realize that this was going to unfold the way it is unfolding. And I don't know if you guys can hear me clearly. You hear some stuff in the background. So now you guys should be able to hear me better. And let's start here with this arugula. Health is wealth. And putting the right greens into your body, just putting greens into your body on a regular basis is something that is advantageous to you having a strong body. And my body is currently in recovery mode after a motor vehicle accident that happened several months ago, and also after neglect that happened previously to that and other accidents. And I get into metaphysics sometimes. I do. I get into metaphysics a lot. If you're really paying attention, you'll hear it. But a lot of people, I wouldn't say a lot of people, some people are familiar with metaphysics, some people are not familiar with it. More people are becoming aware of metaphysics. Um, but I came up through, I guess, what you would consider a traditional religious background. However, I like to consider myself graduating different levels. And by graduating these different levels, hold up, by graduating these different levels. Nice house. Amazon paper. Excuse me. Yeah. This crazy loophole that anybody can discover. There's something that motivated me that I wanted to share with you all. All right. And I wanted to make sure that I get to this point and share this point with my audience because it is so freaking accurate. So the Super Tea Podcast Show started out very humble, started out just me creating a safe space for myself and just venting because I really didn't have that opportunity. However, it has grown into something so much more. So again, if you're just coming in, welcome to the Super Tea Podcast Show. This channel is evolving. It's still a safe space, but it is gaining momentum and it is also gaining purpose. And the purpose is to live fearless and to live freely. And living without fear is a huge thing, and also living with freedom is a huge thing, especially in the world of today. We see a lot of different changes. I am broadcasting from the United States of America. We're about to have our first female president, and ironically, it's not even a Caucasian female president. What's her name? What's her name? Hillary. Hillary tried. But she didn't do it. She didn't cut the cloth, and Kamala is there. Like, you know, Kamala is in there. So it's amazing. And this is something that's wanted. They may not say it out loud, many people, but people of all classes want this to happen. So this is what's happening. This is my channel. So I will engage with respectful comments. Other ones probably won't even come on my screen. And I'm going to continue with this live broadcast. It was unscheduled, but it was definitely inspired and motivated me watching Lewis Howes. Lewis Howes has a podcast, and podcasting again has just evolved tremendously. And I just was kind of like, do 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 do, you know. But anyway, I'm gonna hold fast to this opportunity, and I credit my my spirituality. I credit that part of my life to this because otherwise I would have been wrapped up into spaces and places that I was not intended to be in for their purpose. It was a much higher purpose for me to come through certain spaces, and I had to get still. And again, I credit my spiritual practices, which is not just going into a building, but every freaking day. Like people brush their teeth every day and wash their bottoms every day. Well, people I know. I tend to the bigger part, which is my spirituality every freaking day. So you see me talking about metaphysics. It's not a trend for me. It is a way of life for me. Recognizing how the universe itself works. And there are universal laws and universal rules that are applicable to everybody that you cannot escape. Then you have man's made up laws and stuff. And those are subjective to whoever agrees to those things. But I ain't going to get political or go too metaphysical. Again, the purpose of the SupaTea Podcast channel is to have a safe space, and also, of course, there's going to be some entertainment because I'm silly and I'm talented. Oh yeah, you heard that voice. You heard the tone. You hear it. Y'all hear it. I can't deny it. And guess what? Yes, I'm beautiful at the same time. And I have a nice physical shape too. But the reason why you're seeing this baby arugula and not my physical shape is because those things, although attractive and amazing, are not the most value that I can offer to you. And there's tons and tons. I mean, right now, people literally buy body parts to make themselves attractive. So, that is not the value that you will get here on this channel. Will you see me? Of course. I'll be dancing on some videos. I'll be singing on some videos. But the purpose of the channel itself is to live fearless and freely. Again, here in America, that is a huge thing. And it's a huge thing globally because there's so many things that's happening. But again, I don't want to get into politics. I want to get into classism a little bit because I'm looking at Lewis Howes. He is interviewing this very intelligent man who is. If you're in your 40s and you want to get started in real estate, but you haven't been able to find an affordable. I got commercials, people. We on a budget until I get some sponsors, all right? But I'm gonna just go into what he's talking about. He's talking about his upbringing in um, was it Louisiana in the hood. And I come from the hood too, not Louisiana hood, Brooklyn hood. And then I've migrated to various hoods, and I'm currently with relatives now in another state hood, and that has been my experience, even though I've had pockets of me living in suburbs. So I got to witness a different type of living. And I just literally was in a suburb Monday taking a test, and I was just like, wow, these houses are close together, but the lawns are manicured. There's no trash outside. You don't see people just like hanging outside like you do in the hood. So I was just like, this feels good. And I have been aspiring for that type of life. But I didn't realize what was keeping me separate from it. And this brother made it so clear. It's classism. And classism goes beyond racism because certain people, if they're born into a certain class, they just have access to information and resources that other people don't have access to. Now, what the internet has done is leverage the access, but because the mindsets have been so programmed in certain areas, people are not even realizing they have this access. They're just doing the normal thing, listening to the normal music, doing the normal things, and kind of staying stuck. But because I recognize the leverage of having the internet, I recognize the leverage of even having libraries. I am taking in this information and paying attention to the experiences that I'm having. So I'm going to now jump right to him. He's talking about classism, and he's talking about his experience coming from the hood, and how when he got some time to himself, he began to study the other game. and raise himself up. So I'm just going to go to him now. Bear with me. That's him. And I'm going to press play.
And just read, and then I would get consumed in it, because immediately I saw that there were two different Americas. There was the America that I knew, and everybody around me had the same problem. There was a particular thread that ran through every hood across America. Every hood that I went to was always the same. Mm-hmm. And then we always look at another part of America and we'd be like, yo, how do they get that? And I was like, the reason why in my mind, because they had access to a different type of information. Mm-hmm.
So is it information or is it environment?
So it's a combination of both, right? So people like to talk about racism a lot. And while it does exist, I think classism is a completely different animal. It's
what is that?
Animal. So the classism is, there's a group of people, no matter your color, that has a different information, pedigree, status, and access that other people don't have.
Doesn't matter what race or religion or where you're from. So how do people get into that class, even if they don't fit the majority of the class? Mm-hmm. Look like the majority or come from the majority of that class.
So
educate yourself.
Like yes. So and that's the thing, like, even though racism exists, it exists on a bigger picture and a smaller scale. Mm-hmm. So this is my introduction to it, is understanding that classism says, this is how our family is set up. Look, use you for example. Mm-hmm. Your father says, listen, you need to learn how to invest. You need to learn how to start a business. But also, I want you to meet so-and-so's son. Mm-hmm. I want you to meet so-and-so's brother. I want you to meet so-and-so's daughter. I want you to go to this school. I want you to go to this party with me. And so information gets passed down. Life insurance get passed down. Wills, trusts get passed down. Those type of things help you get access to room that me or these people here will never see.
I want to be in the room where that is.
And so I was like, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. The information is what changes everything. Right. And so I had this saying, education and information changes the conversation.
Yeah.
If you change the conversation, you can change the compensation. If you can change the compensation, you can change the realization. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. It's because if I can get access to information, just something simple as investing. When I started teaching my homies about investing, I was like, yo, in order to be wealthy, you gotta own something. You cannot create wealth if you don't own nothing. If you don't own nothing, you're just a consumer. And if you don't own nothing, you're a consumer, and you don't teach your kids how to own nothing, then now you let them inherit it being a consumer.
Yeah. They have the same education, information, and repetition that you created. They're going to repeat what they see.
Yeah. And if nobody breaks it, nobody's a disruptor. Right? No one becomes a disruptor. So now it's, well, I've never seen wealth, so I probably can't be wealthy. Let me just live my life like, whatever. Let me live my life for me. Let me just keep buying things, right? Let me work hard every day, and the little time I do get some free cash, because I work so hard for it, I need some type of self-gratification. I need some type of reprieve from this. I don't care if I can't afford it. Sacrifice, what am I sacrifice for? It's hard paying these bills. No, I'm not about to do that. And so now Christmas becomes the day where we go broke buying liabilities, right? We have more month left than money all the time, right? We are financially deprived because we have no relationship with money. Whereas this other class says, this is assets of the blood of oxygen to this, right? Let me teach you about taxes. Let me teach you the importance of life insurance. Let me teach you the importance of it, right? Let me teach you the importance of, you may not like this person. Check this out. You may not like this person, but just because you don't like them don't mean you can't do business with them.
My full-time job is being a dad because
Oh, the commercials.
$1,000 annually without doing any work.
Right? Because they have access to such and such that you don't. So, well, over here, if you don't like them, kill them. You don't like them, you know, let them know you don't like them. Let them know there's animosity right there. Because I wanted to, like, the way that the world is viewed is two completely different ways. You feel me? And so because of that, this set of people, until they get exposed to it, until this class of people gets exposure, everyone will repeat that cycle.
Yep.
Whereas this class of people, if you do anything less than what we've done already, like, what is your problem? You know what I'm saying? Why won't you be great? Right? And so once I understood that, I was like, I get it. Right. This is the game changer.
So when you knew you had a year left in prison, did you have a game plan? Was there a mindset of like, okay, I've been studying for 8 years plus years, 9 years, and here's my next 3 moves? Or were you like, obviously if you don't have money, you gotta work a job for a certain period so you can invest to own something, whether it be stocks, your own house, or real estate, or equity in something. You gotta make money to invest it, or you can borrow it from someone and invest it, and then you gotta pay someone off. So what were the next 3 moves after you got out of jail?
So
chess, baby. This is real life chess.
I was like, yo, I could be Warren Buffett.
Right away, right?
I was like, I could be Warren Buffett. Because when you're in prison, like, you paint this picture. And you never know who you really are until you jump in the water. Right? Because you gotta remember, I went to jail at 16. I come home at 26. I'm a completely different man. At this point, the majority of my life has been in prison. My developmental years, I've been in prison. So my mom was like, all right, cool. I went to the halfway house, which was
6 months to a year.
Yeah, I had 6 months. So I remember I came home with like $4,500, and I bought me a Grand Prix.
After you got out of the 6 months, you came home with $4,500.
I came home with $4,500, and I said, well, the first thing I gotta do is I gotta get a car. I don't gotta drive. Like, I gotta give me a car. So I remember my cousin, who was a preacher at the time, he came and got me, and I told him he had avalanche. He was like, man, drive. I was like, I don't know how. He said, you don't learn nothing, you ain't gonna never learn. So I tried the avalanche, and then the next day, he took me to 2 days later, he took me to the license plate. So I get my license.
Wow.
So the lady tells me, she was like, you don't know how to drive. But I've been going for 10 years. She was like, you can get your license.
Oh my God. It's clear that's what I did. Wow.
She said,
that's scary.
She said, you deserve it.
Wow.
I said, yeah, man. So I remember going to buy my car, and I was broke. So I bought the car, and
then you're broke now.
I'm broke.
You already bought something that's a liability. It's not an asset. You're losing money.
I'm like, all right, cool.
But you owned it, so you wasn't that broke. That was an asset.
You got some access.
Yeah.
Thank you for liking my live, people.
And so I remember I got into school. I was in Baton Rouge, so I learned how to weld. Like, I had to take the welding trade up. So I took that for 6 weeks, took fast track welding. So I got certified at that. I came home, I was an ironman. So I started building schools, plants, and power plants. Schools, power plants, prisons. I was doing all of that. And I was like, man, I'm gonna start hustling, man.
Going back. It's too hard. This work is not worth it.
This is not it.
I'm not gonna do this for 10 hours.
I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna do this.
For $10 an hour.
Nah, that's what I was thinking at the time. I was like, I'm not gonna do this, man. They's not gonna give me a $1 fast enough.
Right.
So I get back in the streets.
No way.
Got back in the streets.
Come on.
Got back in the streets,
man. Even after all that education, all that information, knowing it's the wrong thing, and knowing that it can get you right back in there.
Mike Tyson said something that's amazing, man. He said, everybody got a plan till they get punched in the face.
It's true.
You know what I'm saying? I got punched in the face. I was like, man. Again, I'm influenced because I come home.
Your environment is that.
I see it. I see the car. I'm broke. I'm like, man, this ain't it. I'm going to work every day and I'm just looking like, this ain't gonna get it. So I remember taking my check $600. I got me a pound of weed. I said, we on.
Oh man, they start splitting this up and packing it and dealing it.
I started selling weed to people at work, selling weed to the people at home. So I said, all right, I'm gonna be smart. I'm not gonna hustle all day. I'm gonna sell weed at work and at home.
Right.
So I'm doing that, and I'm making money. Started getting more weed. Like that was my thing. So I started selling weed and X pills. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, it's it. So I'm selling weed on the weekends. I'm off. I go to the clubs, sell X pills. I was like, all right, it's it. Like, I see my vision. And in my mind, I said, if I get $100,000, I'm gonna quit.
Yeah, that's that bitch.
When are you gonna quit? No. Now when I get 300,000.
You know what happened? 2000, if I come on 2007, in 2009, me and one of my friends were in a car together. He had 3 strikes. The police pulled us over. I had just served him a quarter pound of weed.
You just gave him.
Yeah.
So he had it on.
He had it on. Oh. Yeah. And so police pulled us over. He threw it.
Oh my gosh.
And the police don't find it.
Oh man.
But then something made them come back and find it in the car.
Ooh.
So now me being a friend, I know that my partner can't go to jail for another time. He gone. So I said, man, that's mine. So I was, it may sound stupid, but in my mind, it's like I was smart enough because I knew that I could only get probation because it was my first drug charge. I already got a temporary on robbery. One drug charge ain't gonna kill me, right? In my mind. So he like, man, thank you, bro. I'm like, man, it's all good. I ain't sure. So about 2 months later.
Did you think to yourself like, okay, now I'm gonna stop this, or were you like,
nah, that's a little probation charge, man. That's probation. I just did it 10 years. That's probation. I already know you can't give me number probation. I'm not even mad at that. So I remember like 3 months later, they kicked my door.
oh man.
8 pounds of weed.
Oh, they found it.
$10,000.
Oh.
40 with extended clipping of being 223, 100 X pills. When the people kicked my door, I remember the man looked at my TV at the stock market was on. And he said, you watching the stock market and this what you doing? And immediately in that moment, I said, I done effed up.
Oh, you said this out loud?
Yeah. The dope part about that was I was able to get found not guilty because they kicked my door and no search warrant.
Right.
So it's called frugal poisonous treatment.
Oh my gosh.
So I was able to get found not guilty on that. And the charge with my partner we did was called the Crosby plea, saying that I copped out only in my best interest. And then when it went to the full circuit court, it was able to throw it away. So I got away with a clean slate. You know how I was state of Louisiana. Anybody looking at that, go look that up.
So for how long was that process, that energy? Was it 3 months, 6 months?
Nah,
like a year change.
I came home in 2007, that was 2009. From 2009 to 2012, I was fighting the charges.
Yep, 3 years.
Gosh,
yep.
That's a lot of energy.
It's a lot. And it broke.
Yeah.
And I remember after that, it broke again.
Now you got court fees, you got lawyer fee, whatever it is.
I started robbing a dope dealer.
Crazy, man.
So this is what I know.
2012, yeah.
2012, I started robbing a dope dealer. So I'm like, all right, a friend of mine, he used to be with it. So we robbing. He like, bro, what we doing like that? We robbing dope boys now.
Oh my gosh, man.
This is what we doing. We robbing dope boys.
You're not selling, you're robbing.
We just robbing them. What they can do? All they can do here. Like I was successful for a while, and then I almost got killed.
Oh my gosh!
And I remember we was doing the situation, and I forgot something. A dude put a 12 gauge in the back of my head, and he said, "I'm knocking this out." And in my mind, I remember it's not about to go out. So my partner was there, God bless his soul. He said, "Bro, look, I can't stop you from killing my home. But if you kill him, you're gonna die right now. The next best thing you can do is let him go, and I promise I'm gonna let you go." God was with me.
Wow.
Dude, let me go. I remember us getting out of there, and I said, "No, I'm finished." Like I found out guilty twice, and this situation happened.
You're like, I can't do it. I'm gonna die in the next 3 years.
Good.
Or I'm back in jail for
I said, I'm good, and I committed to it.
So, but then you go back to welding or something?
2014, I started back doing ironwork heavy.
But you're making $11 an hour.
I'm doing good. So now I was still doing a little bit. So now I was building stadiums and power. So I'm doing $25 a week now. So I had to build my craft up. I had got good and I was getting like $25, $32.
Okay, so you're building it up.
Yeah, I had to build it up. So now I was like, man, I quit.
You're making $25 an hour now.
Yeah. So now I'm bringing home $2,000 a week.
It's not bad.
Good working, man.
It's great money. It's good money, man.
Thank you,
Making
Keith.
6 figures.
Yeah, I was making like $100,000 a year.
That's not bad, man.
$120,000 a year.
Amazing.
Yeah,
It's like a lot of money.
I was good, but like, I'm a hustler.
That's
It's
right.
just in me.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I never went back to the streets. That's when I started taking this serious. 2014, I said, man, you playing the wrong game, bro. And I was still, the crazy part was, on the journey, I was still teaching my homies in the street about the stock market.
Oh my gosh.
I was literally telling them.
But you weren't doing it yourself.
Yeah, I was still investing.
But you were doing
I
it.
was still investing. This what made me take it serious. When they kicked my door in, they froze my bank account.
Oh, man.
They took my truck, but they didn't mess with my stocks.
Oh my
Yep.
gosh.
And I said, oh, they don't think we that smart.
That
All
part.
right,
Let me show that.
cool.
Yeah.
So I really just started telling my homies in the street, like, shit, bro, like,
Car insurance is up 20% this year.
Ah, the
So I was
commercials.
in the insurance marketplace. They shopped my info with over.
this is what you should put your money in. Don't put your money in. No, put your money right here.
Yep. Don't put it in no bank.
Invest in something that can give value.
Invest in.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
wear Nikes all the time. We should own Nike.
Should
Yeah.
own stock in
We
that.
should own stock in Nike.
Yep.
Always got Apple, iPhone. This in the beginning. We should own iPhone. I'm like, yo, like we were at Dickies and Timberlands. That's owned by a company called VFC Corp. We can own that.
Yep.
Like we were at Louis Vuitton, Moet. We drank Moet. We drank Hennessy. That's LVMH on the stock market. We were
Hey, Sativa.
on the stock market.
Yeah, I'm about to get with him.
Like, bro, we can own this. Just
He about to be my mentor.
Crash, you just buy more.
Yep.
And so then, like, some of them got, some of them didn't.
I got you,
So
Keith.
now I started, I had to switch.
Put the link inside it.
What
Well,
happens if you go to jail again tomorrow?
I'm gonna say put the
You owe
link.
money.
That's put that
You got
part.
money in the stock market. What happens?
That part.
You don't owe nobody nothing.
That
You
part.
come up with some money.
Yep.
And so I started preaching it to my homies. And that's when financial literacy really changed my life.
Yep.
Because at this point I was dedicated to, like, I knew that the streets wasn't for me no more. Like I had already been through all the phases. I did 10 years in prison. I got found not guilty. My life went on the line several times. I'm still here.
That
I'm
part.
like, yo, like God got something different for me.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I
Ooh.
said. I was developing the darkness. There ain't nothing that nobody can say about the streets that I ain't never did.
That part.
Nothing. So for me, it's like, from that, okay, I look at myself like I'm the person who can teach them. Because
Yep.
just being real, if somebody goes to them street dudes with a suit and tie, they're not gonna feel that me. What I've
Hell
been
no.
through.
Nope. Nope.
So now I want to represent something different.
Yep.
I want to represent Wallstreet in a way that I'm gonna wear my hoodie, I'm gonna wear my team top, I'm gonna wear my tennis shoes, but I got the same information.
That part.
I can help you change your life. I
That
can
part.
teach you the game that they playing.
That
If
part.
you wouldn't learn it, it reminds you to do a game.
That part.
And so that's when my life shifted. When I started taking it serious. And I started saying, I'm gonna be the first person in my family to build wealth.
That part.
I'm gonna be the first person in my family to have a trust. I'm
That
gonna be
part.
the first person in my family to own land.
That
I'm
part.
gonna be and I'm gonna teach a bunch of dope girls how to do the same thing.
Woo!
And my mission got bigger because I realized it wasn't just a dope deal.
That part.
It was people that was working 9 to 5s every day
That
and
part.
still didn't see a way out.
That part.
So I'm like, all right, you teach them too.
That part.
All right, let me just start educating my people. Let me
That
start
part.
educating this class of people. You know what I'm saying? Because
Class
now
of
we can
people.
get this
I'm
information.
pausing right there. I want you guys to follow him. Let's learn some more about him. The Wall Street Trapper. Let's see, where he at? We got a name. I guess the name is the Wall Street Trapper. I want y'all to Google him right now. Yes, Sativa, you look like you're familiar with him. He has come across my radar so many times. And if I'm going to be completely transparent, as this is the safe space that I have created, to live freely and fearless, I'm going to freely say And if y'all judge me, y'all judge me. It's just my personal experiences um, left distrust in me towards individuals that look like him. So even though I've seen him come across my radar so many times, I was apprehensive in actually taking in the information that he has been giving me. However, the way this universal law works, the way this metaphysics work, is if something is meant for you, you gonna get it regardless, and you don't have to go through whatever. You don't have to go through nothing unless you feel like you gotta go through it. If it's for you, it's for you. It's gonna come packaged to you in so many different ways. So that's how my experience has been. It has been coming to me and coming to me and coming to me through this brother, through different other avenues. Like I literally can be somewhere in a book. I'm a bookworm. I love to read, and the books will just stand out to me. And I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you a book that I've had for years. For years, I've had this book, but it wasn't until, like he said, he became committed to becoming literate in this particular industry and start applying it and start playing and start winning at this, because it's chess. It is literally chess. It's real life chess. So if you're not familiar with how chess works, I encourage you to learn. It's different than checkers. You move differently on a chessboard. The boards look the same, but you move differently, and the pieces have more what's the word I'm looking for? The pieces move differently, and they have different abilities. Basically, that's the closest word that could come to my mind. A six something on the East Coast, but nonetheless, yeah, like it ain't a game. It's real life chess, and there is a lot of classism. And guess what? Classism they have been trying. Some people have been trying to keep it. Many others have been trying to eliminate it for thousands and thousands of years. It's the very thing that one of the famous Buddhas was looking to eliminate, because he came from a wealthy class. But when he went into his spiritual journey, um, and I can't pronounce the name of that particular Buddha, but this particular Buddha came from money, but decided to sit under a fucking tree, decided not to accept the riches that he came from, and really tap into the bigger part of existence. And it's one of the reasons why my spirituality is one of my biggest things in my life. Not just because I am an ordained minister, and I've been an ordained minister for 10 years. So it's serious. It's serious. I've studied it. It's a part of my life. But yesterday, I had an interaction with an individual, and I know people will meet you where they are. You know what I'm saying? And what that means, it doesn't mean a person is a bad person if they don't completely comprehend the fullness of you. Or even if they do get a little taste of the fullness, it makes them feel a way within themselves. That is just their journey. It's nothing to be taken personal. It's just what it is. And I had an interaction with a person, and initially it was just like, oh, we on the same page. But then I realized the way they were moving and the position that they placed them in, they don't have the freedom that I have. And I thought that doing business with them would position me to be helpful to others. But they recommended, we've had several interactions where initially I was like, this ain't gonna work for me, because they were asking me to compromise my integrity on something. However, when I re-looked at the situation, I'm gonna listen my food. I'm gonna put this down right here so that I can actually get up and go into the area where I'm actually supposed to be um, actually doing broadcast at. Y'all gonna hear me grunt a little bit because I gotta get up and if you just coming in, my body is going through a recovery process right now, so moving it is not the easiest task, but I'm grateful that I can still move it. So just bear with me while I navigate it. Oh, oh, woo. All right. Oh, oh. Whew. All right. This is my meal yesterday. Greens. Health is wealth, baby. Health is wealth. So again, I get inspired to do my broadcasting. It can happen any fucking time. Y'all gotta bear with me. Because initially podcasts were not visual, right? So anyway, as I was saying that this particular individual gave me a recommendation that could compromise my integrity as a person. And when they gave me that recommendation, I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna be able to work with you because you're being hypocritical right now. You're telling me that this company is a company of integrity, but you're asking me to compromise my integrity. So yeah, I don't think this is gonna work. And I started exploring other options because I had already earned credentials. And I'm like, I have these credentials. I need to put these credentials to work so that I get a return on my investment, you know? And when I started exploring these other avenues, it was other roadblocks. And I was like, okay, so which one? One company was saying this about that one. This one was saying, well, the other one, the initial one really wasn't speaking on the other company, but they're their competitors. So they were just like, they had definitely imprinted into me their viewpoints of each other. Of course, I have my own mind, so I'm going to analyze and make my own decisions. And being out in the community, I was at a community event, and I looked around, and I didn't see the second company there. I saw the first company there, and it made me do deeper introspection into myself. And I said, well, listen, both of these companies are asking me to compromise myself. So which one is the lesser evil, so to speak? And also, am I looking at this from a disadvantage, or am I looking at this from the wrong viewpoint? And what prompted my decision with the first company? Was it just the fact that the individual was being hypocritical? Was there more to it? And so I went deeper, I looked at myself, and I took my focus off of what they were asking me to do, looked at myself, saw how I could maybe look at a bigger picture versus just that particular incident. And then I reduced that incident. I say, you know what, that's a small incident. It's not even that big of a deal. I'm going to go forward. I'm going to take accountability for my decision and explain why I made this decision, to them. It wasn't just the hypocrisy. It was also that it was I had to revisit a very emotional time in my life, right? So I communicated with them my accountability. I never passed any judgment on them. I didn't call them hypocritical or anything like that. I was just like, maybe it isn't that big of a deal. I'm fairly new, so I don't really know how this particular industry works. So even though, I'm intelligent, I know what integrity means, and I know that they're asking me to compromise my integrity, but you know what? It ain't that big of a deal. It's just basically writing something down. But I also know how business works because I do have a business degree. So I know that, and I know just spiritually through metaphysics that words are powerful. So you got to be careful with the words that you use and how you use them. These are things that I do have knowledge of, even though I'm not as versed in that industry. But I know that this is an industry that is for me because, again, like Wall Street Trapper, and it's been coming to me. Rich Dad Poor Dad. I have all of Robert Kiyosaki books. Okay, I have that one. That was the first one that I read, but I have his other books talking about the four quadrants. I can't memorize every book off the top of my head. It's not even 7 o'clock on the East Coast yet, but nonetheless. So after that particular interaction, and I made the decision to go forward with the initial company, cut ties with the secondary company. Everything seemed to be moving pretty good. And so we're going forward, and then we reach another intersection. It's the best way I want to describe it, where again, they asked me to compromise my integrity. And I was like, okay. And if I'm really going to be completely transparent, it really wasn't the second time. It actually was the third time. So the initial time was when I was doing the application process. The application was very extensive. They asked for all of my experience. I put all of my experience into the application, which was on a computer. Whew, that's a whole nother topic, these computers. I put it all on the computer. And because, hello, I come from a certain classism, okay? And therefore, I've had to work multiple jobs at the same time while also being a homemaker. And I put everything in there. And when I put everything in there, the computer's response to me was, oh, this overlapped this and this overlapped that. So the computer just wanted to see consecutive. They didn't want to see overlaps. I don't know how the algorithm is. I don't work in IT. I just know I put in the information, and the response I got back was, this is overlapping. And I talked to this person, and I said, well, the computer is not allowing me to move forward. And they said, well, what have you done consistently? Because again, I've worked not only in public safety for a number of years. I did customer service. I did home health aid. I did almost some of everything. Public safety just happens to be the longest time I've been in one particular industry, but I worked in the health industry. I worked in communications, and I started my working when I was still a minor. I started my working as still a minor. My first position I had was in an HRA office, so the corporate world is not a new world to me. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. And in America, is definitely not a foreign thing if you're here. It's how our country operates, Again, I'm not gonna go too far into politics. That's all I'm gonna say. As far as my country, I love it. I love the earth, period. I love the entire earth, But anyway, moving forward, when I put this information in, the computer did not compute it. It gave me an error message saying that it overlapped. And they asked me, and when I reported this to this individual, they was like, well, what have you done that was consistent? And I said, well, outside of public safety, being a homemaker. And they was like, well, just put that. So that was really, it's not a big deal, but it's going against my integrity because you asked me to tell the truth. When I told the truth, the computer didn't want to accept it. And then you told me to keep out some information. So it's not that you're not being honest. You're just not disclosing everything. Okay. Hey, you know what you're talking about. I'm going to try that way. When I tried that way, it worked. So I said, okay, not a big deal. So honestly, that was the first. The second incident was they did a background check as if I was applying for the FBI or the CIA, which, okay, whatever. I don't have a history, so I have no convictions. I have a clean record, and I guess that's more accurate. I have a clean record, and I have no convictions. I am a lawful person. So once they do that check, they find something. I'm 41 years old. They find something from when I was 23. Again, not a conviction, but they find a record that I guess was opened. And I don't know if it was open, closed. I don't know how the legal world completely works. But anyway, they found it. And when they found it, they were like, we need an explanation on this. And when they asked me, you need an explanation of this, I'm 41. This is a situation that happened when I was 23. I don't even remember the details of the situation. Are you serious? What I remembered from 23 was my daughter, who passed away 13 years ago, being here. What I remembered was being in an abusive marriage. What I remembered was those things. Those things were still very prevalent in my memory. This altercation, well, not even an altercation, because it wasn't an assault charge. It was me saying something. It was me threatening somebody that I opened my home to, my heart to. I had to dig deep to get the details. But initially, I did not remember what the heck it was about. And I was like, well, first of all, it was not a conviction, so it's not applicable. And that's what I put as my response. This is what you want me to write down? It's not applicable. It was thrown out. Like the charge was thrown out. There's no conviction. And when I provided that to them, they said, no, they're not going to accept this. You have to put something down. And I was like, well, I don't remember. At the time, I didn't remember. All I remembered was my daughter. All I remember was the abusive husband. Those were the things that I remember. I didn't remember the details of an argument that I had with somebody, and they utilized the fact that they looked different than me to call the police on me, and because that's basically what happened. And when I did get into the details, it was much later, like, because it bothered me, like, how come I don't remember? Like, I know I used to smoke a lot of weed, but how come the fuck I don't remember that shit? So anyway, that was the time, because this now I'm writing something, you know what I mean? And that was the time that I said initially was the first time, but full transparency, that was the second time. So it's like, okay, this is the second time. All right. And that's when I had made the decision. I'm not going to go forward. But okay, we know now that I decided to go forward, because again, I reduced it. I looked at myself. I took responsibility. I took accountability. This is not something personal towards me. I thought the person was trying to help me. I thought this person was like, I thought this person had my back, even though I did not know the person. I trusted their opinions. I trusted the advice that they were giving me, and I moved forward. I wrote what they had told me to write down, and I moved forward, right? So now we get to the third incident that's big, that's asking me to write something. So we're talking about words. We're talking about, you want me to write something that's inaccurate. No, I don't want to do that. Okay. And I gave information because they asked me for information, and so it's like, well, I have to share this information with them. Because I am a religious leader, I don't necessarily have a congregation, but I do have receipts of the community work that I have done. And the only reason why I'm temporarily not as active as I was is because I was faced with housing instability, and I also was dealing with the challenges of financial instability due to the motor vehicle accident. I haven't been earning any money, so where am I going? Like, who am I serving right now? I gotta get myself back together so that I can be of service. And you're telling me that this company's values align with mine, so this gives me the opportunity to get back stability into my personal life so that I can go back and be of service to others. Little did I know that this podcast was of service to people. Little did I know that I really didn't need capital to be of service. I just needed to recognize the value that I bring. I needed to recognize the value of my voice outside of the talents that's already innate in there that need to be polished. I needed to recognize those things within myself. And I really didn't come into those full recognition until people were like shining the light on these things. And then all of a sudden my followers list grew from like 8 to 400. I was like, oh, which still, of course, according to YouTube, is not a lot. But I was just like, oh, people are listening. Oh, okay. And then I start getting these other messages and people coming through my radar, like Wallstreet Trapper, but other people were coming through my radar. Package your message and create your brand. And I'm like, how? Like, I was trying to mentally figure out how the heck am I supposed to do this with no capital? I got to get the capital to do this. It costs money to do this. And really, it don't. Like YouTube, yes, you'll get some commercials on here, but it's free to create content. It costs time. And I got that confirmation today. But yesterday was when I really was like, okay, I need directions, because I know I'm supposed to be in this industry, but I know I have so much more to offer outside of just wanting to help people, outside of a big heart, outside of my intelligence. I have these talents that also need to be developed. I have my voice that I'm seeing is impactful, it's powerful. I need to do something with this as well. So what's the best fit for me? Because now I have put in months of my energy, months of my time into studying. I've acquired 2 licenses. I worked on the 3rd license, took a state exam just this Monday. It's Wednesday, so I just took the state exam Monday. I got confirmation that I'm supposed to be doing this, but when I communicate to this individual where it comes to the money part, they're like giving me a lot of jargon. And it's like, hold up. I've put in a lot of time into this industry and with this particular company, and you told me one thing, and now the 3rd piece of advice that they gave me, I didn't want to follow it. And when I made the decision that I didn't want to follow the 3rd piece of advice that they gave me, they were like, you know what? I don't want to work with you no more. And I was like, you don't want to work with me? Because this is my internal conversation, not the actual conversation. The actual conversation was an email saying that, sorry, but this is not a good fit. Thank you for your time. We will not be moving forward with you. That was it. No, when I'm going to get paid for the business I have already done, because I've transacted business for this company already. You know, nothing of that was in the email. Just nope. And I took it personal because I was like, first of all, what warrants that? The fact that I don't want to take your opinion? The fact that I have a mind of my own warrants you not wanting to work with me anymore? I already took your opinion on 2 things that was already went against my integrity. Because and then I didn't even know the law at that time. I found that out like last week. Last week I found out by their regulations, by the federal regulations, the state regulations, that I did not have to write anything, because they didn't really even have a right to ask me about unconviction of that happened more than 10 years ago. They have a right to ask about convictions, and they can still hire you with felony. Well, we already know with felonies, you can freaking become the president or you could run for the presidency. But yeah, like the law says after 10 years, they are not, the law doesn't require them to do that. So now you're doing something, of course, when you have your own company, you can make your own rules. But their rules was out of the scope of the law. And I didn't even know that. All I knew was that it didn't sit right and it didn't sound right. But, you know, again, I took the advice of this individual and I wrote the daggone what they told me to write. So I did that. And now I'm like, now we're at this other junction, this other intersection, and they're telling me to write something else. And I'm like, okay, nah, I'm not doing that. What they have is what they get in, and that's it. I'm not saying no to things, because no, I'm not. And they're like, well, you know what? I don't want to work with you. And my response to that was, well, yeah, I want to do this work. Like, this work is meant for me, whether you want to work with me or not. I've already put in the time. I don't want to walk away unless God is telling me to walk away. You not going to tell me to walk away. Okay, basically was my response to them. And then after, or basically was my feelings towards them. I don't even think I communicated that to the person, but my actions did, because I let them know, listen, I feel like I'm being marginalized right now. I didn't realize that it was a classism thing. I thought it was a racism thing, I didn't realize a lot of stuff. And so I went into the main office and I said, listen, I feel like I'm being marked. First of all, I asked for the diversity and inclusion unit. Nobody in the main office knew where that unit was, not even the security. And I spoke to the head of security. He didn't even know. They didn't have a list of where the offices were. We don't even know if we have one of those offices in this building. And I was just like, okay. They was like, well, what's the issue, ma'am? And I was like, well, listen, I got a decision from somebody at the office that I work out of, and they said they don't want to work with me, and I want to appeal this. And they was like, okay. And I said, I let them know, I feel like I'm being marginalized. Do you really go through all of this for everybody? Or is it the fact that I'm a brown woman that you're going through all of this? And I communicated that to them. They communicated it to the person or one of the people that oversees the region, which is a woman. This woman reached out to me and she said, well, I initially reached out to the office and they told me there was no issue. They told me that you're so good and you're intelligent and you're doing great. And I was like, well, they sent me an email, ma'am, saying the opposite. Well, not saying that I wasn't doing good, but they sent me an email saying that they didn't want to work with me no more. So I'm confused. And she was like, well, can you forward me this email? And I forwarded it to her. However, initially I forwarded to the wrong email address, because with this particular company, they give you multiple email addresses. So when I started putting in her name, the directory gave me an email that she probably doesn't look at as often as she looks at her active one that she uses, even though they're both still active. So I didn't hear back from her. And then, of course, I followed up. And when I followed up, I recognized the error that I had made in sending her the email. So I sent it to her correct email and I forwarded it to someone else as well. And I was just like, okay, so now what we're doing? What's the result? And they just swept it under the rug like nothing. They was just like, oh no, no, nothing. No, I thought about it. I changed my mind. Just, oh no, I've been speaking highly of you and I just want to make sure you're coachable. And I just like, all of these things is what they were saying on the surface. Mind you, there were private conversations between us that I did not share with the main office, because my issue had nothing to do with her. My issue was me protecting myself, and me feeling a way about how the company was dealing with me. Up until the point when she told me she didn't want to work with me, this person, I trusted them and gave them the most highest respect. And that began to dwindle at that point. And it dwindled more with our private conversations. While private conversations, I said, well, when am I going to get paid? It's a question I asked her. Initially, she told me 24 hours after I reached a certain compensation. Now you're telling me you don't want to work with me. So now, what do I have to wait a week? Because with a traditional job, the most you wait is 2 weeks, So now, is it going to be a week, 2 weeks? What is it going to be? That's my thought. That's my train of thought, because the company has gotten paid and the company's supposed to compensate me for bringing them business. So when am I going to get my compensation? So I asked very politely, like, when do I get paid for the business I've written? And her answer to me was 45 days. 45 days was her answer to me. After she put 45 days, she threw in some extra stuff and said, oh, the person I referred to you, my family member, yeah, you ain't gonna get paid for that. What? And I was like, so then my respect began to dwindle even less for this individual. I said, wait a minute. First of all, I didn't even ask you about the referral that you gave me, your family member, but the fact that you would give me something that would, I guess, increase my compensation, and I did the work. It wasn't like I didn't do the work. I did the work. It took me days to do the work because, again, I ran into a technical issue. And I had to call and get assistance, because for some reason, and that's my ancestors. That's why I said don't mess with spirituality and mess with people who really are serious about it. Not people that's doing it as a trend. I don't knock anybody that is utilizing the different trends to reconnect to the bigger part of themselves, but this is a serious part of my life. My spirituality is a serious part of my life. My ancestors, they may not be physically embodied, but they are always covering me, always protecting me. So whatever glitch was happening in the computer, that was protection. I may have not recognized it immediately, but that was protection. That was them letting me know, listen, this person that you trusting so much, they really don't got your best interest in mind, But I didn't recognize that immediately. Again, I thought this person did have my best interest in mind. I thought it was just the company itself. And at this point, I'm neutral. I'm going to address the company with my concerns. But anyway, moving forward, that's their response to me, and my response to them was, oh, the fact that you would give me something and take it back tells me about your character. So, yeah, no, I have no respect for you at this point. And they were just like, well, then they send me a text message and ask me to fill out a resignation form. And to be honest with you, that's going to be the last piece of advice I take from that person at this point. If you want to consider yourself a win, you want to consider yourself getting rid of me, whatever. I really don't give two craps about another person's opinion of me. I know who I am, and I'm free, and I'm fearless. I have no problem walking into the main corporate office. I always, with high execs, always have a favorable response with them. Always. It's always mid-management that it's a conflict, because mid-management has all of this pressure, but they have this title, and they feel because they have this title, that they're better, but you're not better. The title means you have more responsibilities. That doesn't make you better. That just makes your work harder. That's it. And of course, the people that's at the top, they ain't working that hard. Yes, they have more responsibilities, but they have obviously delegated those responsibilities to multiple departments, to multiple people in the multiple departments. Like, they're not working as hard as middle management. So middle management, this is only my personal experience, are challenging. They're challenging, and I feel that's how I sum this situation up to be. It's a middle management situation where you got this title and you got a lot of responsibilities, but you feel that because I don't have these titles, whatever, I should just trust you, but you're not proving yourself to be trustworthy. You already advised me two things that went against my integrity, and now you're trying to advise me on a third thing. And because I didn't take your advice on the third thing, you're not like, okay, you're an adult, you're entitled to make your own decisions, as I think another adult should feel towards an adult. Instead, you want to say, well, listen, since you don't want to take my advice, I'm not going to work with you. And not only am I not going to work with you, that referral I gave you, I'm going to take that referral back from you. And not only am I going to take that referral back for you, you're going to have to wait a month and a half to get the money that you earned and that you brought yourself to the company. What? Excuse me? What, ma'am? I don't know you. I don't know you. I don't know why you have this animosity towards me. And I tried to come up with reasons in my mind, like, well, maybe it's somebody else telling her this. I was like, maybe her boss is telling her to act this way. Why is she acting this way? towards me. Like, what the heck? And through it all, it was like, ma'am, like, and I let her know in a very professional way, listen, you told me one thing, but then you told your bosses another thing. That right there taints my trustworthiness in you. So I'm a professional, just like you're a professional. We may not have the same titles, but don't disvalue my life experiences as me being of less value, because I'm still of value whether I have a title outside of my name or not. I am still valuable, ma'am. And yeah, I don't trust you, but I can work with you. We can work together, because don't we have the same objectives in working? Like, if you're working with a company, isn't your position not only with you earning to take care of your family, which this is why I'm here, to earn to take care of my family and to position myself out of this little hiccup I'm in temporarily, financially, and with housing and all of these, and with my physical body. Okay. Yeah, what the point of being with the company is to look out for the company too, right? Like, so I think we are on the same page, because yes, you're looking out for your family. Yes, I'm looking out for my family, but also we're here to help this company that, we're part of, right? Like, isn't that the same page? No, no. So anyway, the company, ironically, the referral that she gave me got approved by the company for an additional product. And I'm like, oh, I'm excited. So I talk with the person and I'm like, hey, you got approved, and, here's some information. Let's talk about it. We talked about it. It was a great conversation. I got stuck. Okay, because I'm new, and it humbled me, and I was like, okay, I couldn't answer certain questions, and I was like, well, let's come back to this, and I'm gonna consult with your family member, and I advise you to consult with them too. But I still wasn't recognizing until yesterday that even though this person is their family member, they are of two different classes. They're of two different classes. And that's when this brother said classism today, it was like eureka, a light bulb went off. Oh, this woman is of a different class. So even though we look alike, and even though we have similar challenges here in America, because we're both brown women, because we come from different classes, she's looking at me differently. Not only is she looking at me differently, she's looking at her family member differently too, because she threw that out there. She threw that out. I don't know what this gift is I have, but it's like I'm like a human lie detector, people. My energy, because I am transparent and because I am authentic, when my energy intertwines with other people's energy, they spit out truths. I don't think they plan to spit out the truth. It just happens because she did it twice in my presence that I recognized it. She did it with the cousin, and she was like, oh, she's from Camden. And I was like, what that mean? I'm from Brooklyn. Like, what you trying to say? What you mean she from Camden? I'm from Brooklyn. What you mean? What you saying? It's like that other part of me was like, and? What you saying? Oh, I know how she is. Like, what the fuck does that even mean? And I was just like, listen, it don't matter. Like, I could communicate. Like, I'm not looking at her any different because she's from the hood. I'm literally staying with members of my family in the hood. So therefore, what are you talking about? I'm from the hood too. What do you mean? But of course, I didn't approach it like that because, I'm being professional. But in the back of my brain, that's how I was like, what that mean? She from Camden. Like, what that mean? So I don't think she meant to say that. But again, the way my energy is, that's how shit happens. It happens all the fucking time. It happens with complete strangers. I be minding my business, traveling, and people will stop. They will get near me. We could be crossing paths, and they will fucking unload their shit. Another thing she disclosed to me, again, I don't know this woman. I never communicated with this woman outside of business shit, but I literally was sitting in her office one day, and another young lady had passed the office, and she asked the young lady, where are you from? And a young lady was like, oh, I'm from Nigeria. And she was like, oh, my husband's from Nigeria. And, he didn't even have his green card when he first came here. It was like, why would you say that? And it made me look at her different then, too, because I was just like, did you marry for love, or was that I know some marriages are business transactions, but it was like, why she say that like that? And then again, like, I don't be judging people, but I'm always observing. And my brain is like a fucking recorder. So it records everything. Like everything. So when she said that, and then she also said, he's from a tough part of Nigeria. I don't want to go visit there. I want to go visit here. It was like, I didn't really think too much of it, But now it's like the classism comes back to play, because it's like, oh, you think you too good to go to the hood. Oh, you think you better than the hood. Oh, that's the situation. Well, ma'am, this is discrimination, okay? Like, what do you mean you better than? You ain't better than nobody, ma'am, here in America. And again, when the brother says classism, I said, oh, that's her issue. Her issue is she has been exposed to different information. She came from a different background. She was born into a different class. And even though that different class faces the challenges of racism, it's still a different class. And that classism is worse than racism, if you ask me, because that classism not only dehumanizes individuals and marginalizes individuals, but that classism gives people the illusion that because they were born into a certain class, that they are better. And they may not. I don't think I'm better. I'm uncomfortable. Listen, if you authentically yourself, you're comfortable everywhere. I am comfortable everywhere. I am comfortable in the hood. It annoys me, yes. I'm not going to act like I don't be annoyed sometimes, okay? But I'm also comfortable at Wallstreet. My gym was there. Like, I felt completely comfortable. Lifetime gym. Completely comfortable walking into corporate, completely comfortable talking to high execs. Like, we actually get along because I'm communicating clearly. Now, can I get with Ebonics as well? Hell yeah, motherfuckers. I can talk all of that shit. I'm versed. I'm well versed in the English language, But no, all jokes aside, I feel fucking comfortable every fucking where because I know who the fuck I am. And I'm not going by society's definition for me because I recognize that those things are made up. These classisms, this is made up by man. This is not divine order here. Not saying that there are not levels to spirituality, not saying that there's not levels to education. Of course, there's levels, okay? However, when you are of a higher level, naturally, spiritually, you don't look at a person that's of a lower level as if they're less than you. You realize they just haven't gotten there yet, but they have the potential to get there. Whereas classism is like, hey, I was born having access to this information. You should have had access to it too. Some people think that we should have had access to it too. They don't realize unless they actually like spend time living in the motherfucking hood. Like, spend time. Just check it out for a little bit. Not even for a couple of months. Check it out for a year. That's not a long time. That's not a long time to actually, and don't just go by the shit that they tell you in school, because they be lying to you in school. I remember the challenges I had getting my business degree. In one particular class, so it was like, well, business is built on scarcity. And I was like, huh? Scarcity? What the fuck are they talking about? We live in an abundant universe. Is this their business practices? Oh, hell no. This shit is ass backwards. No wonder motherfuckers are marginalized. If you're telling people it's built on scarcity, the less of something, the more you're going to charge of it. And you literally got cars sitting in lots. You literally have buildings. You have cities. You have cities that have been developed that are fucking completely abandoned right now. But you're telling people there's not enough housing. You're telling people there's not enough this, there's not enough that, just so that you can make a profit, when in reality, there's more than enough. There's more than enough space. There's more than enough land. There should be no reason why people are fighting over the earth. No reason. Hey, what the fuck? You want to take somebody, they're working, they're minding their business, they done built up something for themselves, and here come some motherfuckers from a different class, a different religion, a different whatever, that's like, oh, I got some military power. You gonna get the fuck out of your house. What? That's what's going on over there in the East? That's the fuck really what's going on in a nutshell? Save Palestine, save this. How about everybody be safe? Why the fuck are these fuckers fighting over some ancient ass shit that probably was two motherfucking men that had an argument way back in the day? And now we in 2024, you motherfuckers are bombing children's and children hospitals and doing dumbass shit. What the fuck? What the fuck is wrong with you people? What the fuck is wrong with y'all? Stop it. Just cut it the fuck out. Just be like, you know what? We ain't gonna do that today. And I know that's a high order, but it's a simple order. Like, doesn't it make fucking sense? Doesn't it make fucking common sense? And I've gotten into politics again. That's another thing that pulls me. The business world, financial world, and politics pulls me like a magnet. I'll be like, oh God. God, what the fuck do you really want me to fucking do? But after I had that conversation, and I'm not talking about to a man in the sky. That's not my spiritual practices at all. I recognize I need to focus on recovering my body, so continue to go to physical therapy, and allow myself to be taken care of, you know? It's not the greatest conditions, but it is good. It is good. It is good. It is good. Thank you, family. I have enough to eat. Out of the elements, and I have the opportunity to repair my body. I have the opportunity to learn, so I'm going to take the opportunity to learn. And although I want to be self-sufficient right now, I guess it's an ego blow to not have the self-sufficiency right now that I would like to have. But I know that this moment is a temporary moment, and I know the fact that I have the support that I have from my family is a good thing. It's not something that I feel like was always there, but hey, I have it. I'm going to accept it, and I'm going to utilize the free time to put my voice out there. The energy, one thing I realized after having a meeting with these individuals, because they was like, we're just concerned. We just want to make sure you're going to give enough time to the company. And it's like, I'm baffled by that, because it's like, I've already given you enough time. I've already given you a lot of time. And what the fuck have you given me back? And then after I had that, this was my own personal epiphany, my own personal thoughts, was like, wait a minute. What if I would have put all this time into the shit that I've already started, instead of thinking, oh, I need money to go forward? No, bitch. You need to put your time and energy into this, not into somebody else's company, into your own, to your ministry. I need to put time into my brand. I need to put time into my own stuff. That's what I need to put time into, because guess what? I may not get an immediate compensation from it, but at least with me putting my energy into my own stuff, I'm growing my own stuff instead of me growing somebody else's motherfucking brand. And I was like, oh, okay. I still was like, let me get the money. And it's like, what the fuck you need the money for? And it's like, well, you know, I want to have my own home. I want to have my own car. I want to go to, like, physical therapy is cool, but I'm in my, like, third physical therapy place, you know? And not saying that the second one was a bad one, because I actually like that one a lot. But, you know, it's limited, twice a week. they have an hour with me. Whereas if I could afford to go to Lifetime, my gym, I could go there 4 times a week. I could spend a couple of hours there. I could do heat therapy. I could sit in the sauna. I could work out in the pool. Like, I have so many different options, but I just have to be creative because I could join the YMCA, which gives me access to a sauna and also a pool for a lot lesser than Lifetime. Lifetime gym is like $300 a month, whereas the YMCA is $70 a month. And I think my family could help me out with, they will help me out with $70 versus $300 to go to a gym. Nobody like comprehends, why you want to spend that much? And it's like, it's worth it. That's why it's worth it. But until I guess I'm earning my own money and have my own money, which I thought I was earning money with this company, but obviously I'm not. I'm going to take this person's advice. You want me to put in a resignation letter? Well, you know what? You win this round, ma'am. I'm winning in life. You want to win with this company? Go for it. You have my resignation letter coming because I'm not giving you motherfuckers no more of my motherfucking valuable time. I'm going to create a boundary. I am going to go in this direction because I got way more to offer than just some intelligence and some education. I have my motherfucking character, I have my voice, I have my talents, and I have so much value to offer. And perhaps there's people that would appreciate this value. So let me go offer this value to people, to inspire people to be their transparent self and not just fit into the boxes that people want to put them in. Don't fit into a religious box. Don't fit into a political box. Don't fit into any box that you don't want to fit into. Be your motherfucking authentic self. Align yourself with people and things that are in alignment with you. And let's start fixing this shit. But before we can fix our fucking communities, before we can fix our nation, our society, we have to work on ourselves because it's individuals who create this shit. It's people. It's people who create the rules in these companies. It's people that create these laws. Those are people. But outside of those people making these rules and making these laws, there are much higher powers. And you have those higher powers inside of you. The fact that you're breathing, the fact that you can hear this podcast is proof that you have these higher powers right inside of you. So tap inside and allow that to be your guiding light going forward. It makes life so much better. Follow Wallstreet Trapper. His name is Wallstreet Trapper. He's right here on YouTube. Follow him. People, we're going to have to eliminate classism. We're going to have to do it ourselves. People, we're going to have to make our world better. We're going to do it. We're going to do it through the higher powers that's already within us. We have to remember that these higher powers are within us. We have to remember that. You're not thinking about breathing unless you have asthma, perhaps. But if you don't have asthma, you're not thinking about breathing. It's what's doing it. Why are you breathing? You breathing. That higher power is the reason why you're breathing. You have it inside of you. So tap inside. And I'm sorry you didn't see my face, but as pretty as my face is, it's also healing too, people. I got acne scars and all type of hormonal shit is happening on my skin right now, which has been happening. But nonetheless, it's my voice. My voice is more beautiful. My voice is more powerful. And I am a powerhouse, and I'm going to continue to work on myself, get my legs working so I don't have to walk with no cane, recover and rebuild and create, and I'll have my own home when I have it. You know, it's all good. I appreciate the support I have right now, and I hope that this broadcast was encouraging to you. Thank you for tuning in to the SupaTea Podcast Show. Take care.